Hey everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to share with you all a totally free Reaper template for death metal. I'm going to use completely free plugins only for drums, bass, guitars, vocals and mixing. And I'm going to share the exact same Reaper project with you all, so you can experiment and change it according to your needs. In the description below, you'll find all the links to great things, the project itself, the official web pages of the free plugins I used, and everything else that could be useful to you. Before starting, please subscribe to this channel for free, leave a like and a comment below. Your subscription is what really helps me make better content and videos, so thank you very much in advance. Alright, enough said, let's start with this kind of tutorial. I'm going to make you listen to the full final result first. If you want to skip back and forth and navigate through the video, just use the timecode stamps below. This sounds pretty awesome for a totally free project, right? And this section of the song you're hearing is taken from the second album of my band Hybrid Practice, Realignment, and the song name is Anomalies. You can buy and listen all my songs and albums from my BandCamp page. Reaper is a very good DAW, which stands for Digital Audio Workstation, if you were asking. It has everything already installed to make your song sound great. You just need a little bit of practice and trial and error to find the sweet spots for each sound. Let me show you each instrument and tracks by itself now. The very first thing that I'm used to programming when creating a song is the drum track. I know everybody has his own method, but I feel more comfortable doing so. This is why I'm starting to show you the drums first. I've already programmed the MIDI track by myself, and I'm using this free MT Power Drum Kit 2 plugin, which essentially is made of a kick drum, a snare, 3 toms and the usual cymbals and crashes. Now, there are plenty of ways to set up a drum track. I'm trying to keep things simple here, so I'm just using a standard stereo track with a free drum plugin loaded and a couple of free effects after it in the effects chain, such as, for example, a single or multi-band compressor and a parametric equalizer. In this case, RIA Comp, RIA X Comp and RIA EQ can give us awesome sounding results without having to lose a lot of time tweaking its settings. Just try to experiment with the ready-made templates and turn a couple knobs here and there until it sounds good. A good idea for the compression? Just start lowering the threshold and setting the compression ratio to something like 2:1 or 4:1. As soon as you see some gain reduction, it means that the compressor is working right. As for the equalizer, normally we want to high pass everything up 20 Hz and low pass everything down 18,000 Hz. Next one is the bass track. Now, there are a ton of paid bass plugins that can give you extremely good results in the blink of an eye. However, especially in a metal mix, I tend to see the common pattern where you actually need less and less options to get a good sounding bass track. In this case, I've just recorded my Jackson 5-string bass JS3 VQ into my audio interface, which is an old Focusrite Scarlett 2i2 second generation, which still works fine for my needs. What you really should remember when recording a bass or a guitar is that you want to achieve the cleanest and purest DI signal. So make sure you're not getting hums, electric interference and noises, and record at the lowest gain signal as possible. I know it may sound strange, but we are going to amplify the track a lot in a moment, so you really want to stay away from clipping signals. The trick for metal bass tracks that I find the most useful is this. Just duplicate the mono track and have the first one at a low level of distortion and gain, while the second one instead at a super high amount of distortion. Then, in a mixer, just set the distorted track at a very low volume level. By the way, I'm not grouping these two tracks now, but you can if you really want to. Clean guitars. In this case, instead, I suggest you to always double-track your guitar recordings, especially clean guitar tracks and rhythm or heavy guitar tracks. Just record the same riffs twice and then pan one track hard left and the other one hard right. Also, a very good practice is to route the left and right clean guitar tracks into a group track that, yes, we should call clean guitars or clean bus. There are many ways to do this, depending on the DAW you are using. Reaper has folders, essentially they work as directories. Otherwise, you might need to route each track into another one and apply effects just once instead of twice. I know this is something that's not very popular in metal music, but I believe here and there it's a good idea to put some clean interludes. Think of Opeth, for example. They make astonishing music, in my honest opinion, especially in the older records. They used to put some middle song sections completely clean and calm. I'm not saying you should do the same in every metal song you'll make, but let's just not underestimate the importance of an articulate dynamic in a song. So again, for clean guitars, what you really need is some compression, EQ, chorus and an echo delay. Inside Reaper there are plenty of free and extremely good plugins for this purpose. However, you can really use every free plugin you prefer. For example, Dead Duck Studios used to make awesome content and awesome presets for their free plugins. Obviously, I'm adding all these effects to the parent folder as the left and right clean guitar tracks are essentially routed and grouped into it. Just a quick reminder for you all guys, please subscribe to my YouTube channel for free. This is a very low budget channel and your subscription helps me a lot to grow on the platform and make better content. I honestly dislike begging for a subscription and it feels very awkward to ask every time, but in the end, I totally appreciate if you subscribe to my channel for free as I'm planning to share more and more free projects with you all. Thank you. You can buy and listen all my songs and albums from my BandCamp page. Just as for the clean guitars, it's a good practice to record the rhythm-heavy guitar track twice and pan one hard left and the other one hard right. I'm going to group these two tracks into a group folder track named Rhythm Guitars Bus as usual. Also, try to be as tight as possible and play the correct tempo, tuning and intonation. Otherwise, you're going to hear all the wrong notes in the final result very clearly. I know somebody even quad tracks the rhythm guitars, meaning they record it 4 times and stack them all together, but I've never felt I was getting good results when quad tracking, because as soon as you add gain and distortion, everything tends to start sounding very bad, at least in my projects. Talking about the plugins, you usually need a gate in front of everything else to remove unwanted noises and hums, then an amp and cab simulator. In this case, I'm using the free STL Tones Ignite Amps Emissary plugin bundle with the NetIR cab simulator. And on the internet and even on my channel, you can find a lot of free impulses for heavy metal, so just browse and you'll find some good ones, I know. Now, how do you make your guitar sound good? Believe it or not, after you've found your favorite amp and cab settings, you really need a multi-band compressor to tame the low end when playing palm mutes. And this is where RIA X Comp helps us a lot. Then, you really need also a simple parametric EQ like RIA EQ to get rid of the very low and very high frequencies. I'm always setting this up like this. I'm always using just a single track and proceed just as I did with the rhythm guitar tracks. Unless I'm making some harmonies like Iron Maiden, for example, in which case you need two tracks panned left and right somehow. However, there's something you should always remember to do. First of all, remove everything under 200 Hz, as you really don't need those frequencies when playing high-pitched guitar notes. Secondly, some delay and reverb really helps your guitar solos a lot. I'm either using the stock Reaper plugins or some free Dead Duck Studios ones. This, however, is the usual effects chain I adopt for lead guitar tracks.
Shift anomalies, planets collide. Event horizons expand again and as the void, the darkness, waves of power explode.
Disclaimer here, I'm not a vocalist or a singer, so please take what I'll be saying in a moment with a grain of salt. What I usually do is stack 2 or even 3 tracks on top of the other, just like for the bass tracks we've seen before. However, in this case, I'm just showing you one vocal recording, so just one track. You can really try to experiment as much as you want, even clone the original vocal track, pitch shift it like an octave below, add distortion, it's up to you guys. Just remember that you'll need to compress the vocal bass group and EQ it to make space for other instruments.
The darkness, waves of power explode. This is the dying age, the shift anomalies, planets collide. Event horizons expands again and as the void, the darkness, waves of power explode. This is the dying age, the shift anomalies, planets collide. Event horizons expands again. The darkness, waves of power explode.
I'm sure your song is already starting to sound good by this time, but there's something more we need to do in order to make it sound great. And I'm talking about the famous glue of the mix. Literally, we need something that compresses, saturates and enhances the right frequencies of our mix. And even though this may seem something impossible to achieve with just free plugins, I want to show you some tricks. First of all, I'm going to use an EQ to remove the unwanted frequencies even further. And this involves a high-pass and a low-pass filter, normally. You can also tweak and enhance some particular frequencies here and there, but I would honestly just use an exciter, which is the next effect in the chain. This effect just adds more clarity to the overall sound of the mix. It could also be not used at all, but I just like boosting some frequencies at this range. It helps defining my personal tone. Another very important plugin is a compressor, so I'm adding Rea X-Comp or even just a single band Rea Comp. The multi-band one, talking about Rea X-Comp, works wonders with the super solid Opto-Bass FX preset. Though it's just going to compress a bit the boomy low-end frequencies that tend to skyrocket when playing palm mutes and heavy chugs. And finally, at the end of all the chain, I need a limiter, so I'm adding Rea Limit. What you want to do here is to expand the song's loudness as much as you can, but always avoiding distortion. So, what I suggest doing is to listen to a very loud part of a song and start adding more and more dBs to the limiter. As soon as you hear distortion and clipping, go back 1 dB and you should be good to go. It definitely takes some experience to get the final limiting and mastering the right way, so keep on trying until you get your best sounding mixes. Now, keep in mind that there are tons and tons of free and paid plugins out there. This is just a simple example of a totally free metal mixing project in Reaper. I'm planning to make more and more content like this, so don't forget to subscribe to my channel for free. This is the only real way that helps my channel grow organically. I like rewarding people who subscribe to my YouTube channel, so here's why I'm sharing these free projects with you all. You can download everything from the links in the description below. You can buy and listen all my songs and albums from my BandCamp page. Thank you very much for watching this video till the end, guys. Stay tuned as I'm planning to release more and more content. Bye!